Hey everybody, Adam Rogers back in black, again here from Power-Tek Group. Today we're going to show you the Southwire Maxis 6K cable puller. Now, this is an amazing little unit. It comes on this convenient rolled around cart, this dolly. Makes it easy to wheel around to all your different locations on site. This unit is articulating, so it means we can put it into a variety of different positions, which I will demonstrate for you today. The most important thing though, you got your dead man switch. This can save a life. You get your pants caught in that rope and it pulls you over, well, foot comes off the pedal and the thing shuts off. We'll demonstrate that in a bit too. Now, we're going to start off with an overhead pull. We've already set up a little mock station here. We've got our pull rope pulled through. It's going to take me a minute to get this set up and done. It's pretty easy though. It's a little heavy. I might need to bring someone in to give me a hand because it's kind of awkward to set up into place. I'll start by taking out this first cotter pin. And we're going to set up everything right on the floor here. Put our cotter pin back into place. Now we've run a 2-inch pipe, and if you look on here, conveniently on the cart, we've got different shoes that go right up into your connector. We got 2-inch, 2.5, 3, 3.5, and all the way up to 4-inch. This is the 6K model, so it's a 6,000 pound torque that's available through this. So this little piece right here will go into our pouch and we'll get our locking bolt. And this is going to attach right into the head here. Now you're going to thread this in through the back. That's going to hold us into place. So we'll just move our cart out of the way now. And to get this set up, we've got to first pull out a few of these pins. And you always want to remember to put your pins back in, because if you don't, it's not going to be sturdy, or as sturdy as it can be. And that could lead to a critical failure in your cable pull. Alright, so now we're going to stand this guy up. And slide it over towards our target. You can see I'm falling a little bit short here, so my best estimate at the beginning was not such a great estimate. So I'm going to sit it back down. Alright, after a bit of adjusting and measuring, we got our thing all set up here. Gavin is going to help me to lift it into place. It's a 2-person job because it is quite big, awkward, and heavy. And you can see it slides right up into the cup. Now, you probably think, oh look, it's all set up ready to go. One thing you don't want to forget. You're going to want to take your SDS, drill each one of these holes out, and anchor it into the ground. If you don't, you're just asking for trouble, because this thing's going to slip out from under you, and someone's going to get seriously hurt. And we definitely don't want that here. So, This is going to be the loud part. We're going to set up the foot pedal, and we're going to actually show you how to wrap the rope on and pull it. Well, one thing that we've got to always remember when you're set up to do an overhead pull, the barrel that does all the pulling with the rope is going to be pointing towards your tub that you're pulling from.
So now that my good friend Adam Rogers has our thing in place here, we'll discuss a little bit some safety precautions before we do any sort of powering up or any pulling whatsoever. So we're going to want to anchor our feet. There's 4 anchoring holes. We're going to, depending on what floor you have, you're either going to use a lag bolt if it's wood or plywood, or an STS and some either some shots or what do you call them?
Drop-in anchors.
Drop-in anchors, yeah. Something nice and strong so that it's not going to kick out and cause a serious injury to somebody or cause damage to the building or property.
Because, like we mentioned, it's got 6,000 pounds of torque.
Yeah.
You're going to want something that has at least the equivalent in shear force.
Yes.
And you know, you're putting 4 in, so it's
and then
going to be secure.
In this demonstration, we're not going to do that because we're not pulling it. It's just a demonstration. But in a normal substance, we do that, and then we would also cone the area off and make sure that nobody's going to come into the work area and they're well out of the way, just in case something ever broke or something happened, or you know, the rope snapped or the box ripped off the wall. You never know, right? So it's just better to keep people away, and that's why you got the nice foot pedal over there. You can keep it away, and if you let your foot off, it's gonna, you know, it's gonna stop everything from happening. Also, we'll talk a little bit about glasses, hats, and gloves. There's a lot of pinch points on this thing. It's got a collar here that slides in and out for adjustments, so you want to, if you can, wear gloves. Also, glasses at all times. If, as I mentioned, if something ever broke, it could ricochet, or you know, little pieces could go flying. So you want to have the right stuff. And since you're working above our head with heavy metal, you always want to wear a hard hat with this thing. Because if you're pulling it out and you're taking it down, it could clunk down on your head, or you know, could happen. You just always want to be prepared for anything.
All right, we're at the point where we're going to start putting our rope onto the tugger. It sounds simple, sounds very hard to screw up. You'd be surprised the amount of people that wind this sucker on backwards. So I'm going to show you how to do it right. Just looking at this is what I love about this unit as opposed to a lot of other ones. You can see there's a low point and a high point. Now what that means is when you start your rope, you start it on the low point and it wraps around to the high point. So when you're pulling, your rope is always feeding into the low point, and it prevents it from wrapping onto itself. Because once it wraps onto itself like this, you're no longer pulling, you're just binding this, and you can break your rope. So you got it in place now. Industry standard for starting, 3 wraps on your barrel. It should have enough pressure with just that. But if you need more and it's really hard to pull, give it a couple more. You're really not going to hurt anything. And it might even be easier on your rope. But we don't have a heavy load attached to this, so we're just going to go with 3 just as a little demo. Very important to wear your gloves for this. I mean, people think they're tough. I think I'm tough. I've done this without gloves before, and I instantly regretted it. I got about 2 minutes in and I went and got some gloves. So let's get this started.
All right, so we're at the point after wrapping all the rope around, we're going to start the unit up and start the procedure of pulling the wire through. But we'll talk a little bit about safety again. These are your best friend. You don't want your ears to be ringing later that night from the noise this thing makes. They are pretty loud. They make a pretty big clicking sound. And also, you just want to give it one final inspection. Make sure all your bolts are in. Make sure your pins are all in and clipped on. Nothing's going to fall out. Everything's sturdy. Give it your final test. Make sure your cones are all out. Make sure everybody's got their PPE on. And once you can confirm all that and you have a good plan with all your workers, like Adam was saying, It's important that everybody's on the same page and the line of communication is wide open with all your guys involved with the pole. So yeah, once that's all ready, everybody's ready, we're good to go. So let's pop these in and Adam, take it away.
Okay, so we're almost ready to do the pull. One thing to make sure is when you're pulling and your rope is tight, that you have some pressure on the big wheel right here, because that's gonna keep this rope parallel and make sure it won't bind up. Now, before I start up this tugger, we got our rope through. I'm gonna call up Evan, he's on the other end, make sure he's ready. Communication is very important in this process. If everybody on your team isn't on the same page, something can go back real bad real quick. So we're gonna pretend I called Evan. Evan, you ready?
Yeah, we got lube, we're ready to go.
Gonna start it up in 3, 2, 1, go. Foot comes off the pedal, stops. Just that easy. Stop. Easy. And that's how you do an overhead pull.
So this is our dead man foot pedal switch. Let's give you a little demonstration of how to plug it in. So you're going to take your tool nail end, plug that into your 20 amp female end. This is a 20 amp unit. And then your power, your 20 amp power coming in, plugs in the female to the male. And there we go. We have juice.
All right, so we made a few minor adjustments. Namely, we're gonna pull from below up into the box. Now, as a conventional tugger, you'd have to find a way to mount it onto the ceiling to do that. That's the beauty of the Maxis 6K cable puller. It's versatile, it's articulating, put it in a variety of different positions, adjust it to different heights. So, like I said, we've already adjusted it, we know it's gonna fit. So Evan and I are just gonna lift it into place, and then we'll show you how to feed the rope on again. Now, you might wonder, hey, do I have the right angle for this? Well, that's the beauty of having these cups that go right inside your connector. If it's not going in easy and straight, you don't have the right angle. So, it's pretty simple. Okay, so, again, we got we're all set up here. We're gonna feed our rope on. We wanna make sure we got contact with this bottom pulley. And this wheel right here is going to take a lot of the force. It's going to be pushing down on this. So we're going to want to make sure, again, that we've done our 4 pins to secure our case down to the floor. Again, we're not going to do that in the shop because there's no reason to. It's just a demonstration. So wrapping our rope, we've got our low side here, our high side here. Rope always starts on the low side. And we're going to do our 3 wraps. And then we're going to do our communications check with our team.
Also, we want to assess before we start up, make sure everything's good to go. Do one final check. Put our earplugs in. This thing makes a lot of noise. Make sure the area is safe. Nobody's going to interrupt and walk through and blindly not knowing what's going on. So we have our signage, our cones. We're good to go.
So we are good to go. Evan, we're good at the other end?
We are all good.
All right, starting tugger in 3, 2, 1, go.
That's how you do that.
Okay, so Evan and I have shown you a couple of ways to use this amazing cable puller. What we're going to show you now is how to put the thing back on the cart, because if you don't do it properly, it doesn't fit properly. And when you put everything away the way it's supposed to be, we don't lose parts. So, Evan, if you want to give me a hand sliding this bad boy out, we'll just sit her down. Now we'll pull out our cotter pin over here.
Take the pressure off for you.
Thank you.
That swings this way. Let me get my hands out of the way. That one comes in.
Okay.
That comes out.
You've got the weight there.
Yep.
Alright, so I got the pulleys here. Evan, if you can take that tube off.
Yep.
That's going to go on the small square here on the right. Fits right on. And let's make sure we engage that pin. It doesn't walk into anything there, but just
yeah, just so it doesn't flop around. Yeah. There we go.
Now I'm going to slide this right in through there.
And we'll pull it up, let's line it up here. That's perfect. Done.
And then this one
Right through the side.
goes right through the side. And you've got that cotter pin.
I do. There it is.
Okay, so now that's secured and attached to the cart. It'll have a little sideways wiggle, but it's not going to go anywhere. Now the big, beefy, heavy part. Now this one goes on in the remaining square. There's this little cotter pin here.
That holds that on there.
And then that just goes in to one of the little spots. Put our cotter pin back, and now we're held in place securely.
Alright, we'll coil this cord up so it's not a tripping hazard, not going to get caught around the wheels.
I just like to wrap it through here a couple times.
There we go.
There we go. We don't want to forget our foot pedal. This can just sit conveniently in this bag. Just like this.
You got to take this back off and stick it in here. We'll click our shoe. Looks like it goes in some way here.
You have it right. And there. Yeah. Okay. Alright, so we got it all on the cart. Everything's in place. Now we're just going to kick back. And we're going to put it over in this little corner here for nice, easy storage. Clean, simple, out of the way, doesn't take up much space. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, everybody.